Ponytails. Read by Scribbler. Derpy's Rainy Day by Dragonis111. Derpy was pawing at the only window in her room while staring out into the rain, wishing she could be free from her confinement and in her daughter's embrace. Derpy was actually glad it was dark and rainy, as it distracted her somewhat from thinking about Dinky. After a while, Derpy turned away from the window and walked over to the other side of the room, where a photo of her filly hung on the wall. Her daughter had the biggest smile on her face. Looking at this image caused the already depressed mare to tear up as she remembered how all this happened. Some years ago, Derpy had moved to Ponyville with her yearling Dinky, who couldn't even talk yet. She was hoping for a fresh start, as her family had disowned her for giving birth to a bastard unicorn, ruining 14 generations of Pegasi in the process. Derpy came from a noble family, known for their pure Pegasi lineage. At first, the residents of the town welcomed Derpy and her child, and even gave her a job as the town's male mare to support Dinky. Her clumsiness was the ultimate cause of her situation. At first, it was mostly small things, such as knocking over boxes in the street, or flying into a pony's roof, with most residents tolerating the acts since no real damage was being done. The straw that broke the camel's back, though, was when Derpy tried to help Rainbow Dash clear some clouds in Ponyville. Everything was going fine until Derpy accidentally tried to clear and jumped on a storm cloud several times, which sent bolts of lightning into Town Hall, destroying it in the process. From then on, ponies began to think Derpy was a danger to Dinky, and tried several times to get Foal Protective Services to intervene. Eventually, in a court hearing, after several ponies who were witnesses to Derpy's clumsiness came forward, Derpy was given a choice. She could keep on living on her own, but give up Dinky immediately, or move to an assisted living home, and she could stay with Dinky until the entire case had been settled. Derpy obviously chose the latter, and spent the next few months dreading the final verdict, knowing it was more than likely Dinky would be removed from her care. Derpy began to hate where they had put her and Dinky, as she was under constant watch, and Dinky would be whisked away without notice for meetings with the FPS. The place felt like a prison to her, and she hated having to raise Dinky in such an environment, though she never even pondered leaving, as she knew the consequences that would follow. Even with the testimonies of her best friends, such as Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, saying how much of a great and loving mother Derpy was, the court eventually decided it would be in Dinky's best interests to be placed into the care of more capable ponies. The court also assumes that Derpy would be a flight risk, more so than usual, so they lied to her about when Dinky would be taken away. When the day came, both Derpy and Dinky were completely unaware of what was going to happen. While Dinky was sleeping and her mother was readying dinner, a few knocks at the door prompted Derpy to answer. She was greeted by 2 unicorn stallions, agents from the FPS. In an angry voice, she asked whether Dinky was being taken away to another meeting, but the anger in her words turned to fear when one of the agents responded that today was the day Dinky was being taken away entirely.
Now, if you would please step aside, Ms. Hooves, and not interfere, this will go as easily as possible. We remind you that this is done with Dinky's well-being in mind. As her mother, you should understand.
No! The judge said I have 1 more month with Dinky. You can't have her!
As Derpy tried to block the doorway, one of the unicorns cast a spell which pushed her aside and made gravity act 5 times stronger on her. Derpy struggled intensely just to turn her head to say a few more words.
No! Leave us alone! Mommy? Mommy? What's happening?
Come with us now, Dinky. We'll be taking you to your new parents who can care for you better.
No! No! No, I want my mommy!
Dinky's mixture of fear and anger caused her untrained magic to flare up, and bolts of energy sprang from her horn and shot across the room in all directions. However, this was soon ended as one of the agents cast a sleep spell on Dinky, putting an end to her magic and resistance. It didn't even matter that this was her very first casting. The agents left the room, floating Dinky along behind them, and shut the door. The spell holding Derpy down let up as soon as the agents left the room. When Derpy tried to follow, she found the door had been locked from the other side. She heard a voice say,
Miss Hooves, this door will remain locked until Dinky is safely in a carriage and on her way to her new home.
No! Give me my Dinky! This isn't fair! She needs her mommy!
Derpy's futile shouts grew tired as she banged on the door, hoping to open it, but with no luck. She fell back onto her haunches and began crying into her hooves as she realized that Dinky was gone, and there was nothing she could do. A loud crack of thunder brought Derpy back to the present, and she noticed a photo was now stained with her tears. This photo and a few drawings were all that she had left of her little muffin, her daughter, her one piece of joy in this world. She wiped the tears from the photo and looked at it.
I just don't know what went wrong.
That was Derpy's Rainy Day. It was written by Dragonis111 and read by Scribbler. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I have to apologise straight off because if my voice sounds a little bit funny at the moment, I can't really feel my tongue because for the first time in about 8 years, I ate a packet of crisps yesterday, of salt vinegar crisps. And apparently I can't deal with the amounts of acid in those things anymore. So I'm not quite sure how I've done it. I've managed to burn my tongue. In other news, I'm going to put a link below to another comic collaboration, a comic dub that I've done with somebody I've never collaborated with before, and it's also not here on YouTube, it's on Tumblr. And it's by somebody called Fristjra, or Fistjra, I have no idea how to pronounce this, Fristjra, so make of that what you will. And I'll put the link below for that one. I will warn you, it's a little bit more risque than my usual stuff. Okay? Also, the first episode of my radio play, Heroic Tale of Heroically Heroic Heroes, is very near to completion now. All the scripts are in, I am editing the final scene, and I am actually in search of artists. If anybody knows of any artist or is an artist who would be willing to donate their time, I am willing to commission and actually pay for art, as opposed to just throwing my hat in and going, give me please, want. That's a bit presumptuous of me, so I'm willing to commission people. But I am kind of in desperate need of some artists, because of the 2 artists that we have on the project, one is insanely busy with real life stuff, and the other one has just gone back to school. So, anybody willing to help out? Very much appreciated. Please contact me. Please, 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 please. Be lovely to each other, and good night, everybody.